Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you really quickly about Mollie Tibbetts. As a mom, this story has really just been horrible. You know, she was a college student, so she's older than my child. But still, when any child is murdered and you think, wow, they lived in a really small town and everybody knew everybody, and you would think that they would be safe and you would hope that they would be safe. I'm a helicopter mom. My daughter doesn't get to do anything, but I live in a big city, and you think in the big city there's probably more crazy people, and in small towns everybody knows each other and they look out for each other, and you kind of have that fantasy that that's what happens. So automatically you think, oh my God, it was this random illegal immigrant who came out of nowhere and he murdered her, and how can we be safe with all these illegal immigrants running around? And then you have to come back to reality a little bit and say, wait a second. Number one, we shouldn't be politicizing this issue. And that is all they're doing all over social media, the news channels, the newspapers. And I get it. Our immigration system is broken, but have a little class. Her family's grieving. Their daughter's body was just found. This guy went through the E-Verify system, so that's broken too. But anyway, as a mom, you really want to be able to protect your kids. And when something like this happens, me personally, I'm the type of person, if I hear something, I've got to look into it. I have to dig to make myself feel better, to make me feel more safe as a parent. And I came to find out by going through this guy's Facebook that he was dating a woman, and this woman is Facebook friends with the brothers of Mollie. And she's also related to somebody who was friends with Mollie. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so somehow this guy did know her. Did nobody at all during the whole search for her think of this guy as a potential suspect? And if not, why? Did he snap out of nowhere? He was posting pictures of AK-47s and whatever on his profile. He follows about 50 random women. Is that like a thing now, that you just follow all these women on Facebook for no reason? Did anybody see signs? Did anybody know anything? It makes you question everything. It makes you want to take your kids and never let them have social media and never go jogging. And it's just so much. But I wonder, are we so caught up in ourselves that we miss the signs with this guy? Is that what happened? I wanted to take you through Christian's profile. There doesn't seem to be much known about this guy. He is from Mexico, and people are making this an immigration issue. He'd been in the U.S. for about 4 to 7 years. He was working on a local farm in Iowa. I went through his friends list, trying to see if this guy just randomly picked her, or was there any connection at all. And you'll see that he was dating this woman. I don't believe they were together anymore, but he was dating her. Her name is Iris, and I went to her profile. And this is, again, a pretty small town, so maybe everybody knows everybody. But she was dating him, and she was also friends with Mollie and both of Mollie's brothers. So because of these connections, I went to her brother's friends. And her brother is friends with both Iris and this woman named Clarita. This is not to implicate any of these people in any way. It is to show you how all of these people are connected in one way or another, or knew each other. These people are mutual friends with Mollie and with Christian. So he knew who she was. This was not some random act. This man knew who Mollie was.
Party is actually not working on behalf of the American people. They are working on behalf of Donald Trump. And he's been able to bully them into their silence. And I don't think that today changes much, unfortunately. I'm sure we'll hear what he has to say about this at his rally. But Fox News is talking about, you know, a girl in Iowa and not this, right? And tomorrow morning, we know he'll wake up and tweet and sort of, you know, besmirch the reputation of Michael Cohen and all the people around him. But Fox News is talking about, you know, a girl in Iowa and not this, right?
One last question in here, because it is a story, a very important story in the news. It has to do with Mollie Tibbetts, the young woman in Iowa who was murdered, her body believed to be found yesterday. A person has been charged with it. This person is an undocumented immigrant. Mike Pence and the president have suggested the immigration laws need to be stronger so that people like this man who was accused of this murder were not in the country. Your reaction?
You know, I'm so sorry for the family here, and I know this is hard, not only for the family, but for the people in her community, the people throughout Iowa. But one of the things we have to remember is we need an immigration system that is effective, that focuses on where real problems are. Last month, I went down to the border, and I saw where children had been taken away from their mothers. I met with those mothers who had been lied to, who didn't know where their children were, who hadn't had a chance to talk to their children. And there was no plan for how they would be reunified with their children. I think we need immigration laws that focus on people who pose a real threat. And I don't think mamas and babies are the place that we should be spending our resources. Separating a mama from a baby does not make this country safer.
Good afternoon. My name is Rick Ron. I'm a special agent in charge with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today, and we wanted to pass along some information to you as well as the community and the nation as a whole. Behind me I have representatives from the Iowa Department of Public Safety, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office. What I'd like to do first is read a brief statement to you, and then after that I'll be happy to take as many questions as I can. A first-degree murder charge was filed today in connection with the disappearance of Mollie Tibbetts, who was last seen jogging in Brooklyn, Iowa on July 18, 2018. A complaint and affidavit names Christian Bahina Rivera, age 24, who resides in rural Poweshiek County, and he has been charged with murder in the first degree. Dozens of law enforcement officials from local, state, and federal agencies were involved in the investigation after the disappearance of Mollie Tibbetts. A body was discovered early this morning in a farm field southeast of Brooklyn, Iowa. The identity has not been confirmed, however, we believe it to be the body of Mollie Tibbetts. A complaint and affidavit, which will be provided to you, will provide the details and of allegations against Mr. Rivera. Charges were filed in the Poweshiek County District Court. The case will be prosecuted by the Iowa Attorney General's Area Prosecution Division, and first-degree murder carries a penalty of life without the possibility of parole. And I'll be happy to answer as many questions as I can. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. We have confirmed with Homeland Security Investigations that he is an illegal alien, and we believe he has been in this area now for 4 to 7 years.
How did you come into contact with him? How did you get on your radar?
Well, during the investigation, we reached out to the public, as you well know. And during our neighborhood canvass, we came across an individual that had security cameras. We took those cameras. He was kind enough to give us the footage from it. And through that, we were able to identify a vehicle that we believe belonged to Mr. Rivera. It was a black Malibu. And from that, we were able to track his pattern and the routes in which he took. We were also able to find Mollie running on this video, and we were able to determine that he was one of the last ones to have seen Mollie running based on the video, again, that we were able to seize from the general public.
Investigators will search this area generally.
I'm sorry?
Do you believe that he abducted her? What did he tell you? What do you believe he did?
Well, again, we were able to pull him in during the investigation. We conducted a lengthy interview with Mr. Rivera, and during that interview, he tells us that he sees Mollie running, and was able to come upon her, approach her. And while he was interfacing with her, he actually tells us that he ran alongside of her or behind her. And then at one point he tells us that Mollie grabbed a hold of her phone and said, "You need to leave me alone, I'm going to call the police." And then she took off running. He in turn chased her down. And then he tells us that at some point in time he blacks out, and then he comes to near an intersection in which we believe he then placed Mollie.